Welcome back to In Her Element, everyone. Honestly, it feels so good to be sitting down and recording this again. We have had a little break from our guest conversations, and I didn't realize how much I missed this. The warmth, the realness, the feeling of two women who are just sitting down and talking openly about life. And I want to take a moment before we begin because when I started this podcast, I had one intention in mind to create a space where women could show up as themselves, not as the titles that we carry, not as the expectations that we are handed down, but as people with stories, emotions, chaos, dreams, softness, and everything in between. And what surprised me as episodes went on is how deeply each conversation sat with me. Every woman who's come on here has taught me something about resilience, about belonging, identity, being gentle with yourself, and owning your own truth, even when the world is too loud. So today, coming back with a guest who genuinely carries softness, honesty, and joy, it just feels right. It feels like the perfect way to re enter into our guest episodes. I discovered her online, like most of us discover people now, through her dancing, through her little snippets of life, and through these warm, real moments that she shares. And very quickly, I realized something. She's the same person online and offline because we had a few conversations offline. There was no performance, there was no pretending. She's just someone who lives her life with intention, creativity, and kindness. She's a software professional, she's a mother, she's a dancer, she's a creator, and she's also someone who has built her life while making room for joy. And I think that's why people are drawn to her because she shows us what it looks like to be human in the middle of everything that we are balancing. So today, I'm genuinely excited to have this conversation and get to know her more along with you. To slow down, to talk about life, identity, motherhood, creativity, and everything that makes us who we are. So, Abhipsa Nanda, welcome to In Her Element. I'm so happy that you're here.
Thank you so much. First of all, you made me so emotional. I have never heard so many good things about me. But yeah, I think whatever you said sounds absolutely perfect. And first of all, thank you, Swati, for making me a part of your such beautiful initiative that you have started. There are many women out there who needs to be heard, who needs to be understood why they are who they are right now. So that's a lovely way of sharing their little world with you and through you to the rest of the people around you. So thank you.
You're welcome. And whatever I said with a good intention in heart because I've seen that and this is what I observe. So I know you bring so much joy to everybody who knows you. So without any further ado, I want to get to know you better along
Okay,
obviously with our listeners.
let's do it.
So, Vipsa, before we get into your many roles, I know you're juggling a lot of roles right now. There's a professional side, your creative side, your motherhood. So, I want to start with your journey. Like, who were you before these layers were formed? Like, tell us about that earlier Vipsa. What were those experiences, that life, those moments, and some turning points that actually brought you where you are.
Okay. So to begin with, I am the only kid of my parents. So you know how it is to be like in a typical shell and a cocoon, right? You're always
Yeah.
very protected around them.
Yeah.
Um, and I had beautiful parents. I have. They love me. They still care about me. My dad goes on every day asking me, "How are you feeling? Is your health okay? And take care of yourself." Like none of a day goes by without him saying that. So I was always that person. And but at the same time, I have learned a lot that today who I am is because of those two people in my life. They always provide me that boundary. When I say boundary, it is like you are a single kid. You will be given all those what you want, but you have to achieve it. Okay. So that discipline in me has been instilled by them. So I was always a very meticulous, responsible, discipline oriented kid, all because of that. But what I lacked in my early Abhipsa, if I must say, was the independence, the choice of making my own decisions and owning up to that. I was always the person who will look out to somebody, hey, this is what I want to do, or is this the right approach? Can I do that? Twice I still take now. I am at least owning that right now today. So
Yeah.
the older Abhipsa, I mean, the younger Abhipsa would be more of seeking the independence from letting others drive her
Right.
with their choices. Okay, these is the set of prescribed behavior that a woman has to go through.
Go through.
That time, maybe I would feel okay. I mean, that is how society wants us to behave, right? I don't blame my parents or anybody. Somehow the society there is like that,
Yeah.
that you have to behave in a certain point. Now, past, I am 37 now, so I am different. Now I know what is right and wrong. Yes, I have to behave a certain way, but is it okay for me to behave? If it is acceptable, I will do it.
Right.
If it is questionable, I want to question and find out a perfect reason why I have to do or not do.
Correct.
So I have become more independent in my own choices and I'm owning up to that. I would make it that way.
That's so beautifully said. And I'm the older kid in my family, and I so much agree with you on that fact. Growing up, there's these certain levels of, I also grew up in a Odia household. Culturally, there's a lot, like, though I grew up outside Odisha, there was always that pull of, like, log kya kahenge, back home, what the
Exactly.
situation is, and all of that. I still feel like I was a lot more independent than, I needed to be, because, both my parents were kind of working and doing other things. But very truly said, we grew up with a thinking that was given to us by our parents who had grown up in that society. And honestly, I always say this to people, they didn't know any better. They were learning with us.
Exactly.
So they
So there's
gave us
nothing
the
to blame
best.
them. Yeah.
Exactly. They were just going by, we don't want our kids to be hurt, right? But
Exactly.
in that process, I think I've had this conversation with my mother, so I think I'm going to bring this up a bit. That in that process, somewhere I felt a little like pulled in, I can't do this. Okay, why not? Like you said, we never questioned it then. But as we grew up, and rightfully said, I think as I entered my 30s, I've become more independent into my own being of, like, what I can hold to and what I can follow versus,
Exactly.
there are some things that I question and I have to, and, kyun
Yeah.
hota hai, which we probably didn't do back then.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because we were not allowed to do that. Some
Exactly.
standards were set and you were supposed to follow them.
Follow them.
And that was the idea of a good behavior or a good kid. Exactly. And now, when I see my cousins who are of a different generation, I respect them for that.
Correct.
They
Yeah.
have that imbibed in themselves to question, say no. And
Correct.
I somehow like it. Like,
Yeah.
wow, I wish I
Yeah.
could have been that way,
I could
because
have been, yeah. No,
I went through that, but I never had that confidence of saying no,
yeah. I
right?
still don't. But
Exactly. I still don't. I still don't.
I think
Still,
that is,
so yeah, but I don't
yeah.
want my kid to do that. That
Yeah.
is pretty clear in my mind. That speak, but we have, when I say that you speak your own mind, but speak in a such a way that it doesn't have to be directly hurting anyone,
100%.
right? At least learn that from your older generations, how to manage that part of you.
Yeah.
We
That
don't have
I
to be
agree.
always hurtful to be straightforward. There are
Yeah.
ways to do that,
Yeah.
right?
I
Keep
think that
that
you have to
compassion
be
and kind.
kind. Yes,
Yes,
yes. I totally agree. I think being kind when you do these things is so important, because world lacks kindness. That generation, this generation, future generation.
yes,
And I think there are only very few people who respond to a lot of things with kindness. And
yes,
it's not compulsory that that kindness is always reciprocated. But
exactly.
I feel that ideally, from the goodness of your heart, if you be kind, you can actually change some perspectives.
Yes,
The more you argue, the more you fight, the more you're like, nahi, kyun, kya. There's a way, like you said, there's a way of doing these things and doing it respectfully so that it's taken well by both sides of the
both sides.
spectrum.
And maybe doing with that journey of yours, you will find somehow a midway,
Exactly.
where
Yeah.
you don't have to, like, he or she has to follow you completely or you do it otherwise. There'll be a mid path. Okay, we agree to something and we disagree to agree, right?
Yeah,
So
disagree. Yeah, perfectly said. Disagree
yeah,
to agree. And thank you for sharing that, because I
yeah,
also feel like, these things that we hear when it comes from these lived experiences, it makes it more meaningful in a way when we want to take things forward, even for the next generation, because nothing can be lost in this transition, also, right? You have
definitely.
to take some aspects of what we learned growing up, modify it to what we see through lived experience, and then pass it on to the people who come after us, so that the essence of it is not lost.
Yes.
Maybe some rules will change, but the essence, yeah. So thank you for sharing that. It really opened up a lot of memory boxes for me.
है ना? I know, right?
Yeah, all
Lot
of
of
us, I think
decisions we
all
have
of us.
questioned. It could be
Yeah.
as small as possible.
Yeah.
We are questioned.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, moving on to like the next question. You hold so many identities. You are a a professional, you're a creator, you are an amazing dancer, and also a mother. And you move between these roles, at least from what I see online, with so much ease. There's a certain like level of ease that I see. So I just want to hear that from you. Like, how does that feel from inside? Did you grow into these roles and the balancing act slowly, or did it all happen at once? And how do you navigate like these different parts of your life by trying to make it all connect back?
It's a very good question. So I was kind of trying to see what I can answer for that particular question. To me, that is something, it was like I never plan, okay? That okay, I have to do this, so now I have to plan this and I have to be at certain level, only then I can do this. I go with the pace it comes to me. Okay? Things will be thrown at you, right? If you plan or you don't plan, things will be thrown at you. So you just have to see how you can take it, and after taking it, how do you divide it? First thing first, I tell everybody, ask for help. There is nothing like that. You
Yes.
are not a superman or a superwoman that you can do everything. Ask for help. Today you see me, I'm doing lot of things through ease. Maybe 70% goes to my husband, who is in the background helping me around. We have been talking, right? Last 4 months, my work had been crazy.
Yeah.
So there is no way like I can do it all by myself. You have to build a village around you. That is first.
Yeah.
Second, things will come to you. But in that, you have to see how you can uh, find a little bit of time around yourself and give yourself that 30 minutes or 60 minutes so that you are at peace. And once you are at peace, you make people around you at peace, right?
That's right.
So, and things will come. I always tell, like, in a joking way, that there is no return or exchange policy. Whatever things give you, be it your kid or
Yeah.
anything, right? So, you will be managing throughout. And it is not that when I travel with my kid, there is no chaos, or me and my husband, we don't argue. All of that happens. But it will come. You have to take it and find a way out of it. If you don't find that way, then things will stop. What will happen? I'll just stay at my home because no, there are too much. I cannot do it. So go out, explore it, find that time for yourself, then give the time to your family. Create that support system around you so that they are available for you and you're available for them when they need you. We are staying so far away from our family. If we do not build that support system here, then life will be difficult. So, what you see on the reel is maybe 70% of the
Right.
real people actually helping me around in the background.
Yeah.
So, and a mindset. If you think that I cannot do it, be it as small as possible, you cannot do it. I think that I have learned with lot of people, and I think that mindset of I can do it was somehow seeing people around me, and you have to fight for that. You can't just give it up, I feel.
Yeah. And now that you've said it, thoda sa I'm going to ask a question that was not there in this questions that I was going to ask you. But it, I think, also very critical, because you mentioned it. You talked about creating a village around you. And I know that village will consist of men and women alike. But what does the community, the friendships, and that sisterhood kind of means to you? And what's that importance, and why do you think we need it? this is a question that I always ask because, that's very core to what I'm building also, right? Like the importance of women's friendship and women supporting
Yeah.
women. What does that mean to you?
I got goosebumps when you asked me. So, women friendship is something which is undefinable. People make, there are people you might have seen in your life also make fun of it, right? क्या
Yeah,
करते हो तुम
yeah,
लोग यार?
yeah,
एक
yeah,
रील तो बना रहे हो. So,
yeah,
but no, women friendship is way beyond that. There are a lot of things that today maybe when I talk to you, you will understand it better. Yes, definitely. You have your spouse, you will have your kids, your
yeah,
parents, but that certain things that I can share with maybe my women friends and the perspective that I'll get from them will be a different level that nobody else can give me. It could be right straight on my face, so I always try to find that balance in my friendships where, I have people who will be very straight on my face that think, okay, this is not the way you do it.
yeah,
Right. And then I need some people around me who always back me up also.
yeah,
Right. Okay, fine. That's fine. It is, you did it wrong. Fine. Figure it out. Well, let's see how you can figure it out. And friendship for me is non negotiable. That is first. Secondly, I want such friendships which has no strings attached to it. Like if I'm
yes,
not calling you for 10 days or, a year, still where you can just text me and say, hey, dude, what are you doing? Right. I mean, that kind of women friendship is long lasting for me, which I have built. I'm very happy. I am not an extrovert person. I take time to open up. So I may not have like 100 of friends, but at least I can with pride say that whatever friends you're seeing are my very close set of people without whom I cannot live. So
right,
they might be ignoring my loopholes. I ignore their loopholes, and that is how we go. And a woman friendships give you a lot of viewpoints,
yeah,
right? So maybe that other person might not be perfect or correct, but her viewpoint would be way different that you can question. Okay, wow, that is something I should be doing it,
yeah,
right? And what we are going through, only we will understand.
yes,
Nobody else can understand for us. And at today's time, if I do not have that, I think I cannot survive. Maybe 10 years back, I could say, yeah, I don't need, I'm fine. I have a good husband and a good family. But now, no, I cannot think about moving from a certain place because I do not have that much of stamina and strength in me to build that friendship again.
no, true. And when you say like the reason, I always ask is I've had a great set of like through school, through college, and through my masters, I've had great sets of friends. But those friends, like we move around, and I've been moving around quite a bit. And I see that level of friendships that you require. They keep you sane.
Yeah, they keep you
In the
safe.
nutshell, they truly keep you sane. And my whole reason when my husband moved to San Francisco, and I'm still, kind of going back and forth because I'm finishing up my PhD in Houston, majority of my friend circle is here. My school friends are here, my college friends are here, and I'm also open to forming a new, I'm through Instagram, I met you, I met so many other people. I'm trying to build that because I feel like I'm an extrovert. I'm an introverted extrovert, you would say. Like I love making friends, but I'm also very, very skeptical of who I let in,
Yes,
because for me,
exactly.
it matters a lot. Like if I
Matters a
don't
lot.
get the same energy back, I cannot commit to that friendship. And that has drastically changed after I moved to, like I'm still in between cities, but after moving here, I feel like that the energy that I feel from people here is just so infectious. Even the new people that I met here, you won't believe it. 3 out of the 10 people who have been my guest on this podcast, I met online. They're based here. You're
Oh,
the third one. And whenever we have spoken, in whatever capacity we have spoken, it never felt like I don't know anybody. That's how you connect, right? And that's where I appreciate women friendships of like-minded people because, you see a certain level of encouragement even when you don't know the other person. It comes from the heart and not from the mind. And that changes the trajectory
absolutely.
completely for anybody who's creating, who's looking for friendships, who's doing something. And women, I think, are very intentional with that. And that's
Yeah.
why this sisterhood, this community, I think for me, even the small community I'm building with this podcast, the people who've reached out, I feel like they are there because they believe in the same mission of finding like-minded people.
And I think we're so done with that phase of getting judged. I think we all,
Yes.
coming from a community, we are being judged always, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I love to build my little small space where I don't want to be judged what am I eating, what I'm doing.
Correct.
I just want to be understood from the way I am, not by how you are seeing me, right?
Yeah.
So if I'm building that, I'm very happy about it. Like, okay, I have somebody who will just hear me out without getting me judged.
Yes. Yeah. Non-judgmental friendships are the
Non-judgmental, yeah,
best. Yeah.
best.
And I think what I appreciate, I know I'm going to talk a bit more about this because it is important. Because, these non-judgmental friendships, they frame who you are, right? Because these are the friendships, like you very correctly said. अगर आप गलत कर रहे हो, they will important, very important. Because you cannot have always हाँ
Huh,
चलते जाओ and
huh.
then there are also these are the same people who also be like you want to do this, come, we are there for you.
Yes.
You want to like my first guest on this podcast, I'm like मैं किसको बुलाऊं क्या बुलाऊं, I messaged her and she was like yeah, she took her time and she's the friend I'm talking about who I made here. And I just messaged her a day before recording. I'm like, yeah, I'm planning to do this. Are you up for it? She's like, just send me this and we are on board within 24 hours. So I'm saying this power of women friendships, it is contagious, I feel. And they form connections so well. It travels from here to this. I think that part of the community where we talk about these things and have that safe space to put our viewpoints forward, that's so
Yeah.
important in our lives.
And when people are telling you what is wrong, you should take it positively,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
I
Yes.
see people around me who may be like very taken back, like, how did you say that? Or,
Yeah.
but take it positively. Understood why that
Correct.
person told, right? Because that
Yes.
person is living it around you. So he or she might
Yes.
have felt it in some different way. Take it in,
Exactly.
understand, and see
Yeah.
whether you can actually correct it within yourself, or you have to talk. Like, go and tell, hey, you told me this. What do you think if I do it this way?
Why?
Or
Yeah.
why
Yeah.
did you tell me that? It has to have a positive aspect, is what I always feel.
100%. And I think
When you
when
were like,
you
which
give
I was not doing maybe 15 years back, I was like a very, okay, तूने मुझे ऐसा कैसे बोला, like that kind of
correct,
person,
correct, correct, correct.
right? Why did he or she tell me like that? But now I'm very different.
I think also maturity. I think I also say post pre 25 Swati and post 27 Swati are two very different human beings altogether.
Yeah.
I think maturity, life experiences definitely change you. And also, when you're giving somebody a piece of advice or a critique, it also comes from what kind of energy you're saying that, right? And yes, 100% agree. The other person on the other side needs to be in a good mind space to take it
Yes.
constructively as well.
Yes.
Because sometimes what happens is you say it from as a friend thinking ki, I've seen this go wrong. It might, let me just caution this person. But if that person is not in the mindset to take it, or your friendship has also not reached that level of comfort, sometimes I think you need to back off because it can go very wrong in certain situations.
Yes, absolutely. I completely agree to that.
Yeah, but yeah, energy in the way you take. But ideally, I feel, at least in today's time and age, in between like relatively good friends, when somebody gives you a suggestion, I don't personally think it comes from a bad place. It just comes from a place of concern. And like you said, that safe space of them being able to talk back to you about what you thought about it, creating that safe space is also our responsibility as women friends for them to be able to have that conversation.
Yes, absolutely.
So I think totally, and I completely agree with all the things you said. And I know people who are listening to it will be excelling with every word that we have said, because I know every woman at some point has felt
Yeah, I
these
mean, there
things
is
in their
no
life.
sugarcoating here. We are just talking
Yeah,
but you feel what I feel, right?
yeah, yeah. So it's just us speaking everybody's mind out. And I mean, now that you're talking, I do see the way you speak is there's a lot of balance around it. It doesn't have to be perfect, but
Yeah, yeah.
you're very, this conversation feels very comforting. So I
I
know
am
a
not
lot
a
of people.
perfect person at all, to be honest.
None of us are. None of us are, and that's why this podcast is that we are still living life being imperfect.
I'm still learning a lot of things. Could be as simple as 6, 7
Yeah,
from my kid or from my mother or
yeah.
anybody older than me telling me something. So I always try to find that balance.
Balance. That's wonderful. Now let's talk about the part of your creative side. I met you through your Instagram, so I do want to talk a bit about that. You know, love dancing. It's truly mesmerizing. I've seen you in the Saki dance, and it is definitely very, very like I was telling her that I look at this and I want to start dancing, though I'm not a great dancer. Where does that creative side come from? And how does creativity play? How does it play a role in your day to day life?
So this dancing and singing, trust me, Swati, it was somehow within myself. I have not like tried for it. Again, I am not perfect in this kind of dancing where you term it like a hip hop or a jazz. No, but dancing in itself, I like to give expressions. I like to perform to the regular Bollywood music. I have done few years of Odissi dancing, but I have never like tried for it. It was somehow instilled in me. Like you say god gifted, maybe yes. So it started when my dad was in bank. So we used to have those bank annual functions and all
Yeah.
those puja functions where I used to perform on stage, and that is how it all began. Every time there'll be something, papa would be called, okay, is your daughter dancing or not this time? So
So
I still
sweet.
remember my first dance was a song called Bombay to Gay Pune from Juhi Chawla. There is a
Yeah,
variety
yeah, yeah,
those,
yeah.
and going on a scooter with my dad and mom to get a frog for to perform. So that is how it is. It has been that easy and breeze for me. And creativity, as you said, something when I'm dancing or singing, I find a peace within myself. So when I am at peace, I forget how perfection I have to be, or the steps are not going this way, or when I go to these workshops, I have to do it. I just let my heart, when the music plays, then I just let my heart out of it. Maybe it'll be perfect, maybe it'll be imperfect, but I am enjoying it. So creativity for me is what I'm enjoying, and that is how it keeps me grounded. So if I might be feeling as stressful, but if I sing a certain song heart out loud at home, I'm happy. Doesn't have the world doesn't need to see it, but I'm just happy. So if I'm not dancing like to perform or in the reels, but I may be dancing at home to a some song or
So,
trying to learn certain steps, I'm happy. It is keeping me happy. That is what it's all about me. And
and
go ahead.
I can see that, that innocence through all of it. I know,
Huh.
you know, Instagram is not your whole life, but from a outside perspective, when I see it, it definitely tells your story as a person. And that innocence and that happiness, this joy, it comes through it. What you're feeling, it definitely, and I think that's what catches a lot of people. Like, there are so many people doing a lot of these things, right? But sometimes people are just looking for that. I mean, I look for the humanness around it, you
Yes.
know, and I
Yeah.
found that with your dad. And I'm not exaggerating it. I just definitely found, I think there was this connect because of how you came through in those videos. And I could see that innocence and that joy emanating through it, that you were dancing ki, बस दिल खोल के नाचना है. I don't care
Huh.
about anything else in the world. That's a very beautiful feeling to have.
Because this is not something that I want to be
Yeah,
perfect at. This is something I have to enjoy. If I am like
right.
stressing out, okay, I have to. Yes, learning is a part of it.
Part of
Definitely,
it.
there is nothing going back. But I don't have to be perfect about it.
Yes.
So that is what I enjoy. If it is again, if I'm like trying to be perfect, then I'm not enjoying it. So then there is no creativity for me in that
Yeah.
space.
Yeah, true, true. No, that so well said because every time you dance, I have to tell you this, it actually feels like you're reclaiming the space and reclaiming this joy, and it's very freeing to watch it. as when you're watching it, because that joy emanates and gives happiness.
So
So
I
thank
feel
you for doing what you do.
anybody's creativity, when you see from others' perspective, should be like, okay, if she can do it, then I
Yeah,
also, maybe not, doesn't have to be that style or that
yeah,
form.
yeah.
I can also try doing something. It doesn't
Yes,
have to be perfect, but I can do it. It is that
yeah.
message should be going out to all.
100% going through your reels. Now, coming to a very important aspect of this podcast that I wanted to talk about. You are the first mother I'm speaking to on this podcast. And I really wanted to bring this perspective because I know a lot of listeners are going through, some are in the midst of their motherhood, some are contemplating motherhood,
Yes.
some have their own choices
Yes.
that are important to them as well.
Yes.
I want to talk about motherhood because it's, one of those roles that also truly shifts who we are as people. And sometimes it expands us, sometimes it challenges us, and sometimes it also heals a part of us that we also didn't know that, needed some healing. And before I ask you anything, I have to say this. I'm a big fan of your daughter. I really am. I see through your stories and your video that she's as kind hearted and thoughtful of a human being as you are. And I can really see that. She has
Thank
this
you.
softness, the sweetness, and the spark in her that,
She's a goofball.
yeah, that, she's been raised with a lot of intention and, love. And honestly, watching your interactions with her and her on your video, you can see the warmth you bring as a mother. So I wanted to ask you, and there are going to be three parts to this question. How did motherhood shape you?
So I'll be very honest on this answer. Okay?
Please, yes.
I have to become a mother or not become a mother. I respect people who think it from that way, that they have, like, they are having a choice to own it. I really respect that. For me, motherhood was something I have to do. Okay. I never had that thought when I was planning, ki, okay, there could be a choice.
Yeah, yeah,
But being said that, that didn't mean that I never wanted to have a kid. So for me, it was very straightforward. I wanted to have kid. When and how and what all will happen, that I didn't know. But again, I was in that society driven ki
yeah,
itne saal mein bachcha karna hi hai type. Okay. That is the
yeah,
honest thing I did.
yeah, yeah,
So anyway, so me and my husband decided, and yeah, that motherhood happened. Motherhood is very transforming for me. Okay. I already said I was already responsible. I was already very disciplined. So I can't say that, okay, motherhood instilled this, that with me. Motherhood was transforming for me, I would say. The day she came to our lives, we thought, okay, we have to be more available for somebody. And we both come from a very loving family and a loving parent, right? So that kind of helped build us what we are giving to her. Secondly, I am learning from my mistakes. What you see on Instagram is maybe just 1% of that. I do a lot of mistakes around my kid. I would be sometimes getting annoyed for a petty thing that she might have done that I could ignore, that I'm doing now. Maybe 2 years before that, I would have been
yeah,
very furious, but now I'm learning with it. So we
right.
both are learning.
Yes,
I also tell her that you tell me if you feel that, okay, I did not do this right. And sometimes I get annoyed when she says that, okay, no, mama, I did not like it. But then I have to take a breath, understand why she's doing it and why she told me that. And in the meanwhile, I'm also giving her something. Okay, see, this is how I feel. So we talk, and I have to build a safe space around her because today's kids are way different from how we were. I have to be telling her, I literally tell her every day that you do mistakes, but tell me that you did something. Telling you truth, like 2 years back, I was like, I used to be very furious. Like maybe she fell down or she did something, and I felt somewhere that she used to see that on my face, and then she used to avoid it or hide it from me.
right.
A 3 year kid falling down and not telling you because she thinks that my mom might get furious, that was a lesson for me. I literally cried that day when that incident happened. Like, okay, she did not tell to me because she thought that I might be furious with her. That, okay, why were you not careful? Okay. So these things are changing me. So it is transforming in that way. So that was the day I understood, okay, this is the mistake that I have to do. I have to create that, okay, mama may be furious, but you tell her that you did something, and I will be available, whether it is right or wrong, I will be there with you.
So
So
sweet.
I don't know how to put it. No, I am like, I was always waking up at a certain time. I was always doing those things. I was always, available in terms of like if I was a daughter or a wife. So these things happen naturally to me, but we are learning. I am making mistakes, learning through it. And I will tell everybody out there, as a mother, we do not have to be perfect.
Correct.
Find your imperfections, try to correct it, take a breather, correct it, and just sail it through. And
That
for the ladies, our lovely ladies out there who are contemplating whether they want to, do not want to, it's okay. Take your time and talk it out. You both have to talk it out as a like you and your husband. And if you're absolutely sure that, no, I think we are happy in that space, please go for it. There is nothing wrong about it. But if you have that little bit of doubt in your mind, then think through it. It is a lovely journey, I would say. You're going to see lovely movements. So think through it so that you later do not repent on something that what if should not be there for.
there. No, 100%. And because these are conversations. So, like me, my friends, we are in our early 30s. Some of my friends have, are having babies. Some of us are still in the process of like, is this the right time? Let me get sure. Let me get there. Some are also in the space that I don't know. I want to do this and maybe later think about it. And there are a lot of options available. But I love the way you said that, this generation of parents, and I do see a lot of other young parents around me, the way you exactly described the process, that you are both learning. It's not you just implementing something and the kid just doing it. You are both in this together. You are parents first, but also their friend. And that is so important for them to come and tell you every little thing and building that trust. It is so heartwarming to see that transition in this generation of parents. I personally feel I'm able to come and be open to my parents after I kind of cross this certain level of age. But seeing that happen right now with young kids and, the way they are, and you very rightly said, they're very different from who we were as kids, right? So thank you for sharing that. And I do want to say that I know parenting is hard and, you have your ups and downs, but your daughter is truly a shadow of you as much as I see it.
And I feel, do not go by books. I am
Yeah.
seeing some people out there that
Yeah.
could be as small as possible,
Yeah.
no sweets, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
they are kids, let them be.
Exactly.
Sometimes it is
Yes.
okay, let them be,
Yeah.
right? We do not have to go by what the book is saying today.
Correct.
Book was always
Correct.
there.
Yeah.
We have also grown. Let them also grow through their experiences,
100%.
right? You can give them ideas, but whether they are going to take it or not is their choice,
I
right?
agree because, I see a lot of like one other example is, I don't know if it's happening right now, but at least a couple of years ago, like when our older cousins or older people were having kids who were at that point 30s, would be like, oh, we now had kids, we can't travel the world. Well, that's not true.
That's not
That's
true.
not true. And now when I see it and everybody is doing, like you rightly said, they might have a tantrum, they will have this, but that's a part of them also experiencing life along with
Yeah,
you.
yeah,
You cannot stall life
no,
because you want them to grow a certain way. They will live life because of your experiences with.
yeah. And only if you are happy, then you
They will
can
be
make
happy.
them happy.
Yes, yes,
So it is
yes.
okay. You
Yeah.
have to be in that chaotic situation.
Yeah, no, 100%. And this one thing I'm grateful to my parents. We were traveling as me and my sister were kids as well. We were traveling, we were going out, we were going to other countries. At that age, we learned so many things which we probably did when we were growing up. So, there a lot of that independence and that knowledge came from that traveling. So I feel that we should, I don't know why in between it got stopped. But now when I see it, I'm like, this is great. Like it's coming back, it's back in fashion. That's what they
Yeah.
say in a little
Bring
way.
the discipline, but in a way where it
Yeah,
can be, actually been fulfilled. Yeah, you can have
100%. Yes.
discipline in having a study time. You can have a discipline
Yes.
at a play time. But अभी now Saturday है घूमने जाना है. I cannot compromise on a nap time. Okay, it's
Yeah.
okay. One day you can, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
And
like
people are
to
also
each
growing and
just
learning.
live with them as well. I
Just, yeah.
completely agree. And I know you answered this a bit, but I just wanted to ask in detail. How did motherhood change the way you look at yourself? Or, how did it influence the way you show up in areas around you or the world? Did something happen, shift?
Yeah, I will say that she is a very observant kid. What I do, she's observing that.
Right.
Maybe every kid does it.
Yeah.
So somehow I feel I am accountable. So my how my behavior is around others is what is driving her and growing her as a person. So I feel I have to show her both of that part of mine. If I'm being angry, if I'm being happy, how I'm handling situations. It could be at my work or people around me. I have to show her that it is okay to be emotional. It is okay to cry. It is okay to laugh. It is okay to have fun. So for me, to build that with her is very important. So when I'm seeing that she's observing me, I have to be my own self. So
Right.
I think being myself is what I can give to her. If that answers your question.
It does, it does. And that's a really beautiful way of putting it that, you are showing her the real you so that she grows up and knows the right from the wrong and where to show up safely in a happy space, right? At the end of the day. So yeah, that's really, really inspiring. And I hope that, people I know motherhood is different for everyone, but I
Everybody,
really
yeah.
hope people take it, in the way that sometimes, they too struggle. And with you sharing this experience, or someone who's listening to this will realize that, it's okay. Some things might be different, that, like you said, not written in the books, but that is your experience with your kid. And they will still grow up amazing because you are sharing that moment with them. And it doesn't have to go by the book.
It doesn't have to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that is for me. It is transforming for me every day.
Right.
I mean, there is not a single moment that I can say, okay, this changed me, but it is transforming. And to all the new mothers out there, it is okay not to be falling into a certain pattern. It could be as small that maybe you're not able to breastfeed. I'm not sure whether I can tell it here. I see
No,
mothers going through that pressure. It's okay. Don't take it. A fed kid is a better and happy kid.
yes.
So let's not fall into that certain level of standards that we have to do only then my kid will be flourishing. No, it is not that way.
Great. I 100% agree with this. And thank you for sharing that, because motherhood is definitely one of the most human journeys that, we as women take. And the way you speak about it with so much honesty is very grounding. And I'm sure it
Yeah.
is going to be for our listeners as well.
Because I went through it. And that time
Yeah.
when I went through it, I did not have the right people around me to tell me that. So I have actually learned all these things through my experiences.
Experiences. Yeah.
So I have been irritated. I was there. I'm literally learning. Whatever I'm telling you, I feel it. That's it.
And
So
that's what we want. And
yeah,
I know a lot of people will definitely feel a lot of comfort by hearing this, because it's definitely something I've seen, new mothers go through. And there's obviously a lot of anxiety around it. Even with
lot of
today and,
anxiety.
years passing by, though there are like support groups and stuff, you still see others, and it's very easy to start comparing yourself with the other person. But I definitely, I always think that each person is unique. Their experiences are unique. What you might think, I'm not able to do this, why is she might be having issues where, you're able to do but she's not. And this comparison will never stop. And I'm not a mother yet, but I do understand every
Yeah,
motherhood
definitely. A
journey
woman,
is
yes.
unique.
Yes. And
Yeah.
we have to create that place for our kids where kids will come. I'm telling you, a 6-year-old is asking me difficult questions. Okay. But how do I handle it? I cannot say that this is not an age appropriate question, right? I have to handle it in a way she can understand and it is relatable to her. So we have to be answerable to them. That is how it is transforming me. Okay. To think from her aspect and tell her, okay, this could be that answer.
But never ignoring that question or
Never
brushing it
ignoring.
under
That
the
maybe our
carpet.
parents
Yes.
would have done it. Let's not do
Yes.
it.
Yeah, let's not do that. No, I support that. And I see other parents that I see also, sometimes I have another family friend who has a 3-year-old right now. And I see how patient they are. He keep asking questions and they're so patiently answering it. And in my head, I get it. Our parents, I don't, it was a different time and age and other things, I would never compare that parenting to this parenting because we all learn through different aspects. But उस जमाने में if it would have happened, they're like, please चुप हो जाओ, please चले जाओ, और
अभी
सो
भी बोलते
जाओ.
हैं कि चुप हो जाओ, क्योंकि कभी-कभी इतना इट्स लाइक आई एम डन बाबा नाउ
Yeah,
कैन यू जस्ट स्टॉप?
stop.
But yeah, it is what it is. They are some small little kids and there's so much of curiosity because
Curious.
of the too much of available informations around them.
100.
It's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
there at fault. We did not
Yeah,
have so much of avenues for information, right? They have
exactly.
it.
They have
And
a
who
lot.
do they
Yeah.
come to ask? Either it is their friends or us.
Better be us.
Better be us.
Yeah.
It could my daughter ask me as simple as question, why do men I see at Sephora doing makeup? Like, are they allowed to put makeup? So that kind of
Yeah.
observations and questions, we have to appreciate that also and tell
Yes,
them it is normal,
100%. 100%.
right?
These are good questions to ask,
Yes,
and be aware. And that is where I think respect, awareness, and, gets created from a very early age. And what we learned probably years later, we had to do a lot of learning and relearning. They get to learn that from the very beginning. And I think that's a very beautiful aspect of this. Another good aspect is you stay in a very diverse society where you get to experience and at the same time see these situations, right,
having
that
said
we
the
also
diverse
didn't grow up
society, see, she is in such areas where, I might be thinking differently. Some other parents may be thinking
thinking
differently. So
differently.
then
Yes.
she comes and questions me. You told me this, but she's telling me something else,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So then we have to understand and wait out and tell her why we are thinking in this way. And maybe
Correct.
this approach is better for you.
Yeah. Yeah. Open
Let's see,
to
part of learning.
art of learning. I think you said some really amazing things that's going to really resonate with our audience. And also one thing that you mentioned, that you learn through lived experiences, right? And I think that's one of the reasons why people connect with you, through whatever you do. Your reflections, they feel very real. So deep question. You can choose to answer it or not answer it. But is there a lived experience? It could be a big one or a small one that really changed the course of your journey, something that kind of reshaped how you show up in this world.
Yeah. I thought about that question a lot. I got married and my husband came here for his job and I was there in back in India. I was doing pretty good for myself. But then I had to make a decision of staying there or coming and joining him here. You are aware of all the visa things
Yes.
that are going on, and
Yeah.
then so that is actually that shaped me a lot. That was my first, I would say, my first own independent decision, not driven by anybody. I was given good advices and suggestions that could have, I don't know whether it was good or bad for me then, but I had to quit my job and come here. That shaped me a lot. I did not work for at least 2 years. That shaped me a lot. I had my highs and lows. It was not easy for me. Just imagine you live in a country full of people around you, noises, and you're coming here, absolutely pin drop of silence. My husband has to go for work. I'm doing what? Nothing. Right? That silence sometimes used to kill me. And but I am not a person who will be, get deep into some isolation and I'll cry it out. I definitely cry it out, but I will not get it driven. It can't drive me. And in that due course of time, there were people who judged me for not working or asking me not so appropriate questions. People were aware that that might hurt me somewhere, right? But I think all those experiences have make me more stronger and make me more aware that sometimes things will happen in its own way, right? We can plan for it, but we cannot be adamant or stringent about it. I have to prioritize at that point what I want. If I thought my job was my priority, then I should be happy about it. If I thought no, I got married, I want to live that experience with my husband, I want to own that, right, and be happy for that moment. So that is what changed me when I got over that. Okay, no, let it be. I will enjoy this space of what I've time. I will have a beautiful life with my husband, roam around. And I started dancing, I joined the community. We did a lot of stage performances in Houston, right? There are a lot of functions happening around.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
I did a lot of those and I was a part of that, enjoying it. And people used to know you like through your dances and, hey, I saw you performing. Those things made me very happy. And that's when I was like, okay, these things are very pity what people think about you and what people judge you if it has to happen. And I can't stop trying. I was definitely trying because that is, I have to be an independent person, right? I have to do my job. I have also studied. So all that was happening in the background. But what I am doing during that time, rather than cribbing or, making my husband life a hell, because he did not force me to take that decision.
Right.
So that shaped me a lot. So I had my highs and lows during that time. And we don't put all of that in the
Yeah,
Instagrams,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
But that has shaped me a lot what I am today.
Thank you for
But I had a very
sharing that.
bad time, bad phase, I would say. But I have learned a lot through
I think I don't know if everyone goes through it, but I feel like a lot of us go through this situation. For once, I feel you completely because, and I give the credit to our partners as well for holding us when we needed
that. Yeah,
them to at that point. Because doing a PhD was my decision. And coincidentally, at that point, we were in the same state. He was in San Antonio, I was in Houston. But I think when he moved here, and a lot of personal things happened that kind of like really put me in a, and PhD is not easy. It's
totally
not
that.
easy. And coming back into this empty apartment was crazy. And how many people are there at that? And I was a part of that Houston community and all of that. But at the end of the day, everybody goes back to their families, right?
Exactly.
I was coming home and I'm like, oh my God. Weekends are just like, oh my, like, I don't even want to get out of, I'm also this person. I process by like crying it out, taking a deep breath in and then living life. But over time, one thing I learned, which you also said rightly, is what we forget is living the moment. When we don't live the moment, we lose out on that because you very rightfully said it. Cribbing is not going to help. We have taken these life decisions and we have to get through them and we will get through them. But don't stop living your life because these moments are not going to come back. 2 years later, you're going to be like, अरे उस time ये कर लिया था, वो कर लिया था, ये कर सकते थे, वो कर सकते थे. But what were we doing? We were sitting and my life drastically changed when I started to be like, no, you know what? We are going to work this out and we'll work it out fine. And a lot of that credit goes to my husband as well because he was like, but these things matter. Living the moment matters. Traveling matters. You can do so much more in that time. See, you dancing, you bringing that creativity out. Now, even with your work, you continuing to do that dance, right? Because it brought you back this joy. My podcast journey started. That's why I'm like, I want to create this community where some of us feel like, किसके पास जाएं, किससे बात करें. Like sometimes you want this. We think they are just talking, but these are sometimes people are listening also and they're taking something out of it. And even if two people listening to this, I
Yeah,
feel
we
like
make a
it
lot of difference.
changes somebody's life in the right direction or they connect and they be like, okay, this person is also going through this. Matlab ye normal hai. It really helps create a sense of belonging, which I
And
feel all of us need.
and in that situations, if you can find out some, you don't know how differently capable you are, right?
Yes, 100%.
So even it could during those phases, I remember people. I like to dress up. Okay, I mean it could be like, हाँ यहाँ भी जा रही हूँ तो थोड़ा lipstick लगा लूँगी, and I'll be
Yeah.
like, So people used to come. My friends used to come and say, "Hey, I really like the way you're dressing up. Can you join me for a party I have to attend? Can you go and help me with the shop? I don't know how what looks good on me." Now that also used to give a little bit of happiness to me. That okay,
Yeah.
fine, I can do that also. I
Yeah.
have that in me. You don't know how differently capable you are.
Exactly. That teaches you your different sides very well because you give it time to nurture itself, which you probably don't when you're busy. And I think once you open up that pitara of creativity, even when you go back to your regular work or whatever you're scheduled to do, that never leaves you.
That never leaves you.
That
Exactly.
which I think I think everybody needs to go through this, because like you said, it becomes your grounding in a busy life,
Yes,
and
absolutely.
sometimes people are so busy they don't even come back to this grounding because they've never had the time to explore it.
Yes.
So life teaches you good lessons.
Life teaches a good lessons. Absolutely. That's very, very well said.
Okay. Now we've had the serious, deep conversations. I'm going to do a quick rapid fire round. It doesn't have to be really rapid, it can also be a heartfelt sentence. But
Okay.
just, anything that comes to your mind first, So are you ready for it?
Yes.
No hamper, huh? When I get money for it, I'll send it to you. Oh, God. Okay. So, coffee or chai?
Chai. You might be knowing me through all my stories.
Okay. Your forever dance anthem.
Shape of You by Ed Sheeran. If it plays, I am all crazy.
Nice one. Motherhood in one word. A role that feels closest to your heart.
Being a daughter.
A place you would love to dance in someday.
Lake Como.
Wow.
I've never been to that place, but I love it.
Manifestation. Manifestation. A small joy that never fades.
If I bring a little bit of happiness or a smile, anybody, could be anybody on any day. If somebody is smiling for something I did,
Yes. What makes you feel in your element?
then I'm comfortable. I cannot pretend. So I am very, if you can see it on my face. If I'm happy,
Yes.
you will see. If I'm sad, you will see. I cannot pretend. So if I'm comfortable, that is my space.
You're in your element.
Yeah, I can't be pretend. Like I cannot pretend. So if I'm very uncomfortable around somebody, then that's
You
it.
will see it on the face.
Yeah. People ask me. I have a face card.
That's great. Okay. Okay. Thank you so much, Abhipsa, for this conversation, because I think what made this episode special is how honest it felt. Nothing was forced. We didn't rehearse anything, so
Oh, trust
it
me.
just it just felt like we were two women talking about life that we always don't get to talk, and especially when we're constantly juggling these roles, responsibilities, expectations, and identity. And one thing that will stay with me today from this conversation is how you make space for joy in your everyday life. That joy doesn't have to be big or dramatic, but just the simple kind, and the kind that can happen in the middle of a busy day, the kind that can show up in your small routines, like you mentioned, in dancing, being present, in giving yourself some space and grace. And I think that's something a lot of us forget, and
And it is
hearing
okay to be imperfect, to be perfect. Just be imperfect. It is fine. We do
Yes,
not have to be overachiever. It's okay.
exactly.
छोटे छोटे achievement करते हैं दिन में.
100%. And I think it was very grounding. What you said, it felt very grounding. And I hope that everyone listening to it also felt that, because we often think, like you said, that we need to do everything perfectly. We need to show up like flawlessly. But conversations like this remind us that being human is enough. Showing up honestly is enough. Letting ourselves evolve, change, relearn, that's enough. Yes, yes. So, to our listeners, thank you for being a part of this space. Thank you for listening to women's stories. And thank you for constantly coming back to In Her Element. And thank you for supporting this podcast in ways big and small. The messages, the shares, the reviews, even just by pressing play, it truly means a lot. And I hope today's conversation reminded you to be gentle with yourself, to make space for your own joy, and to be proud of the many hats that you wear, even on the days that you don't feel balanced. And most importantly, to show up as yourself, fully, honestly, and without any apology. We'll be back with more stories, more conversations, and more moments that remind us of who we are and who we are becoming. So until then, take care of yourself, give yourself permission to slow down, and stay in your element.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.